book.
Recording is
At
on.
least for 1 or 2 verses, you will not need the book. You will be able to recite them. And slowly you will be able to, I'll send a link in the group now to get your meter and your, the basically meter and the tone of the verses correct, so that you know where to end. Send the link now. Radha Gopinath Prabhu. So his recitation is very nice. So I'll send. He's got full list of videos. So chapter 2, I will send this. So I'll send this to you. So I'll just send in this link. If someone can copy it and paste it in the WhatsApp group, that will be great. This is chapter 2 recitation. So if you hear this, you can move it forward, make it slow, speed, and all that stuff as you do it in YouTube to get your pronunciation and your meter correct for your verses. You'll be able to pick it up very nicely. Did you get the link in the messages? Did you get the link?
Yes.
Of YouTube?
Yes.
Yeah, that is Radha Gopinath Prabhu, and his recitation is one of the best. Pitch perfect in whole verses, slow, fast. So you go to your move forward and come backward to your verses and do your 5-6 verses, whichever you're doing, and try to match with him. If you're able to match with him, you'll get it, you'll get your pronunciation right. Once you get the pronunciation correct, the meter correct, and if you are able to do the verses by your own, then you will start understanding the meaning by yourself, direct from Sanskrit. It will be very interesting for you. So see how the verses reveal by themselves, how Krishna reveals by himself when we recite his verses. Okay, so we'll continue from 2.5, which we were discussing last time. So the verse 2.5, I'll share my screen. 2.5. Guruna hatva hi mahanubhavan shreyo bhoktum bhakshamapi haloke.
Guruna hatva hi mahanubhavan shreyo
Guruna hatva hi mahanubhavan shreyo bhoktum bhaksham api haloke. Hatvartha kamas madguruna haiva
Punjiya bhogan rudina pradigdhan.
Punjiya bhogan rudira pradignan.
It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of lives of great souls who are my teachers, even though desiring worldly gain. They are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood. So, I'll read the purport also. It's very small. According to scriptural codes, a teacher who engages in an abominable action and has lost his sense of discrimination is fit to be abandoned. That's what Prabhupada is saying. Bhishma and Drona were obliged to take the side of Duryodhan because of financial assistance, although they should not have accepted such a position simply on financial considerations. Under the circumstances, they have lost the respectability of teachers. But Arjun thinks that nevertheless they remain his superiors, and therefore to enjoy material profits after killing them would mean to enjoy spoils with tainted blood. Tainted with blood. So that's what Arjun is thinking. He's thinking on the level of Dharma Shastra, that the seniors are seniors any which ways. Even if they are on the wrong side, they are our superiors. We should be respecting them. I cannot fight with them. I cannot kill them. But he is not thinking on the spiritual grounds. He's only thinking on the material grounds. That how can I fight? How can I kill them? Although they are being on the wrong side. Now we'll go for a bit of background of Bhishma and Drona. So Bhishma, as you all know, he had taken a vow. A few vows basically. The first vow he has taken was that he will not become the king of Hastinapur. It will be the son of Satyavati, correct? Son of Satyavati who will become the
No,
king.
Prabhuji, Ganga.
Ganga.
Bhishma
Ganga?
was the son of Ganga.
No. Bhishma was son of Ganga. But what was his vow?
Oh, yes.
What was Bhishma's vow? So Bhishma's vow was that he will not become the king. Satyavati's son will become the king. That was the condition for the marriage between Satyavati and I want to hear the name. Anyone?
Shantanu.
Shantanu. Very nice, mother. Thank you. So that marriage was only agreed upon if Bhishma gives up he was crowned prince. He was Yuvraj. And that time his name was Devavrat. So Devavrat has to renounce from the kingdom to becoming a king. So if he renounces, only then the marriage will take place. Now the next question by Satyavati's father was that you may renounce, but if your children grow up and they ask for the kingdom, what will happen? Then Satyavati's son has to give up the kingdom because he will be the contender. So on that, he took another vow. He said that he will be a celibate throughout his life. He will remain a brahmachari. He will remain a brahmachari not in the temple, but he will remain a brahmachari in the palace. So what is more difficult? Brahmachari in the temple or brahmachari in the palace?
In the palace, of course.
Why?
Because there are so many good things around you but you can't enjoy them.
Yeah, he'll be in between all the Vishay and Vikars around him, and unfortunately, he cannot enjoy those.
Yeah, it is like telling a person who is a regular alcoholic, asking him not to drink but to serve everyone alcohol. How difficult that will be. He sees alcohol every day, but he cannot drink. That is difficult. If you stay away from something, it is easier to maintain that. But to stay around that and avoid that same thing, it's very difficult. So he took that vow. Being a Kshatriya, he took a vow of remaining a celibate. That's why all the demigods, they showered their mercy upon him. That what a vow. It's very difficult to take such a vow. Being around the princes and kings and remaining a celibate. So that's why he was given the name as Bhishma. So Bhishma means the one who takes a very strong Bhishana vow. Bhishana Pratigya. That is called, that's why he got this name. Otherwise his name was Devavrat. So because of that, he was tied to the kingdom. But what was that for? What was the intention? What was the motivation behind that vow? Yes?
The only intention was to make his father happy. That was.
So was it material or was it spiritual?
That was absolutely material.
Yeah, good. Anyone wants to comment? Was it material or spiritual?
Material. Yeah.
Material. So his intention, his purpose behind that was material. Now what plays into picture? What plays when you do such kind of an act, the intention being material? It's only your karma which plays into picture. Whether you are able to maintain that or complete it, it's just your karma savings which will come into picture. How much you can go far on that one. Only that. We will understand further that in Karma Yoga in chapter 3 about how karma and how Krishna works. So the intention, the motivation, the purpose behind that was only material, only his father. We're not talking about good and bad here. So based on that, he was supporting the kingdom, the king, whoever was there, the king, he has to support him. He was fighting, okay. And he knew that he is fighting adharma, on the side of adharma. Now, because he had a lot of empathy towards Pandavas, and he had a lot of love towards Pandavas. So Duryodhan, although knew that nobody could defeat Bhishma, he was a valiant warrior. Nobody could even stand in front of Bhishma when it comes to fighting. That kind of a warrior. Nobody. He never lost any fight throughout his life till the time of Mahabharata. So that was the credentials of Bhishma. So Bhishma going on Duryodhan's side one way, it is that if Bhishma was not on Duryodhan's side, then there was no war. Because Pandavas were very strong. If there was no Bhishma, Duryodhan will not start the war. So he had Bhishma in his mind that Bhishma is going to be in my side. So the politics behind that, behind Duryodhan's mind, was that because of his vow, that resource is mine. He cannot go anywhere. Based on the vow, he will be mine. He will fight for me. So I can fight. So that was his trump card. But the other thing in his mind, Duryodhan, was that he has this attraction for Pandavas. So he may be fighting, but he may not be fully motivated. We read this in chapter 1. Does anyone remember which verse was that? There was a comparison where he said something about Bhishma and Bhima. Does anyone remember that verse? There is a particular word which he used. If you're able to tell me in the next 10-15 seconds that word, that's fine. I'll give it.
So 1.10, I suppose.
What was the word which he used?
Aparyaptam.
Very good. Aparyaptam. Aparyaptam. What does that mean? So there are two meanings to it.
Immeasurable.
Yeah, and?
Insufficient.
Correct. So when you change the first prefix, it changes the meaning, right? So that is aparyaptam. Multivalent word from Sanskrit. See, very good language for politicians. Sanskrit, can be. So why he said that? Because he had this thing in his mind that Bhishma has a soft corner, soft feelings for Pandavas. So he may not fight. So he used to instigate Bhishma every time that you're not fighting good enough. Every time he will say, you're not fighting good enough. So what happened because of that instigation? Bhishma got ferocious. So he said, okay, you want me to kill Pandavas? Tomorrow I will kill all the Pandavas. Okay, that is, I take a vow. So Bhishma was too much into taking vows and fulfilling those vows based on his, pastimes. So he took a vow and told Duryodhan that tomorrow I will kill all the 5 Pandavas. They will be dead. And he gave him, and he showed him 5 arrows, which he, by his own, valor and warriorship and his own tapasya, he made these 5 arrows. He said each arrow is for one Pandav. Each arrow is for one Pandav. And they will be killed by this. These are achuk bana. They will be dead tomorrow. These are the 5 arrows. So that made Duryodhan very happy, very joyous. He was convinced that, now the Pandavas will be killed. So he took those arrows from Bhishma. He said, I will not let you keep these arrows. I will keep it with me in case your mind changes tomorrow morning. So I will keep those arrows with me. This was Duryodhan. So he took those arrows and kept with him. Now, somehow, Arjun and the Pandavas were informed that these arrows are with Duryodhan. Now, somehow, when we use somehow, it means from Krishna. Whenever we use this word somehow, in discussions, somehow by Krishna. So Krishna knew that he has got 5 arrows. And he asked Arjun, Arjun, do you remember something? Do you have any kind of a credit note given to you from Duryodhan? So Arjun didn't recollect at that time, and Krishna told him that there was a time when Duryodhan was captured and you saved him. Do you know what time was that? We have discussed that past time, that prasanga. Yes? Anyone? In chapter 1, we have done all these prasangas.
Yes, when they when they were doing some party, these guys, Duryodhana and all. So
Duryodhana and Karna. Yes.
yes, they got. I forgot the name of them.
Gandharvas.
Gandharvas, yeah. So Gandharvas actually captured them, and then Arjun went and he rescued those guys.
Do you know why they captured them? The reason why they captured them? Anyone?
They misbehaved with one of their daughter, I think.
Correct. One of the ladies of Gandharvas. So they were held captives, both Duryodhana and Karna. And Arjun, at the request of Yudhishthir,
So
went and saved him. Yes. Abhijit.
Karna had fled off from there. Karna was
Yes,
not captive.
Correct. Karna was not captured. You're right, Abhijit.
Dushasan and Duryodhan were captive.
Correct. You're right. So, good point. So, Duryodhan was captured. And Arjun single-handedly fought with the Gandharvas and saved Duryodhan. And because Kshatriya, 1-to-1, so he was indebted. Duryodhan was indebted. So he gave him a credit note saying that, is someone trying to reach us? Fellow jester? Okay, Hare Krishna. All right. So,
Yes, Prabhuji, I'm sorry, I was typing because I had to go to the temple today. So
okay,
I am
no problem. Today, by the way,
so
happy
I will leave in
Narasimha
between.
Chaturdashi,
So
everyone.
happy Narasimha Chaturdashi. So I have to go to temple.
Yes,
so I was
please.
just telling you that I will go in between.
Yes.
Right now I'm there, but I will go in between. Yes.
Yeah, please.
Because 5 o'clock the program will start there.
Sure, Mataji, sure. So, what happened to Arjun was he had this credit note which he forgot completely about it. So Krishna reminded him that you have a credit note, you should go and encash that credit note. Now is the time. Go and get those 5 arrows from him. So Arjun went in the night before the fight next day. So this is something which is unimaginable these days. This is like at the moment there is some war going in the east, right? In Russia and Ukraine. So it is like Ukraine's president going and meeting Putin at night. This will never happen. 2 rivals meeting at night and talking to each other, comfortably sitting down and talking. So these were Kshatriyas. These are real Kshatriyas. So they will fight only. They will not hide and fight. They will fight in the front and then they will shut down and they will be like, acquaintances and meet each other Even the soldiers were like that in Kurukshetra war. They will meet in the night. They'll sit down and talk, chit chat, do all the kind of prajalpat which happen throughout the day, and then next day again they will fight with each other with proper, intentions and proper mood of fighting. So that kind of wars can't be imagined now. That is, the way as per the Kshatriya dharma. So Arjun went, and Duryodhan welcomed him in his tent and said, "Yes, Arjun, what can I do for you? Should I give you the kingdom back? Do you want the kingdom? Are you asking for it? Tell me, just say once, I'll give it to you." So he said, "No, I'm not here for that. I'm not begging you for anything. I've just brought this credit note. If you remember, I want those 5 arrows. I had saved you from the Gandharvas. I just want to balance it out." Duryodhan was totally unpleased, but he had to, because he had given a vow. Sorry, he had given a word, a credit to this one. So he gave all the 5 arrows. And Bhishma came to know about it, that he has given the 5 arrows back. So he was not upset, because Bhishma got upset. And the reason why he got upset was not because he gave the 5 arrows. He was upset because his vow will be broken. Okay, because he took a vow to kill Pandavas. So he said that vow will be broken. Now, to adjust that vow, Bhishma took another vow. He said that because Krishna has manipulated this, not manipulated, actually he did the right thing. It was called for. He said, because he tweaked the whole situation, I will make him fight, because he has taken a vow not to fight. Make sense? So because he has tweaked in a way that I have to break my vow is broken, now I will make sure that his vow is broken. So it was a tussle. That, his vows or his vow. And which happened eventually. Bhishma started, hammering Arjun so much. And Arjun didn't want to fight at the time. That because Krishna had taken a vow that he will not fight. He will only be a charioteer. So Bhishma pushed him so much that he actually stepped down from his chariot and picked up the wheel of the chariot and raced towards Bhishma to attack him. And Bhishma stood like this, "Okay, come and fight with me. I have broken your vow." So that is a prasanga from Mahabharata as well. Bhishma was a very staunch devotee of Lord Krishna. So this is another aspect of looking at this prasanga. Very staunch devotee of Lord Krishna. So Krishna, he will break his vow to maintain the vow of his devotee. So that is Krishna's, reciprocation towards his devotees. That he broke his vow in order to satisfy Bhishma. And Bhishma was looking at Krishna at the time. Yes, Abhijit.
Bhaktavatsal, they call him for that.
Bhaktavatsala. Yes. So he likes to serve his devotees. So he was picking up the wheel and trying to kill Bhishma. And Bhishma was looking at him. And it is explained in Mahabharata that Bhishma was glorifying in his heart the form and the looks of Krishna. He was saying that what beautiful he is looking. And he was just watching him. The way he was bringing that wheel and coming towards him, he was glorifying him. It's so beautiful he looks. And the time was evening time. In English, it is called twilight. But in Sanskrit or in the Vedic terms, it is called Godhuli. Have you heard about this word, Godhuli?
Yes, Godhuli Bela is the
Godhuli Bela. Very nice. It's the evening twilight time, when the sun about set and night about to start between. That's called Godhuli. The reason why it is called Godhuli is because, when the cows come back after being raised from the whole day, after they finish their grazing and they come back home, they come in, all the group on the like herd, the herd of cows which come back after grazing in the evening. So when they come in the groups, there is lot of, dhul. What is dhul in English?
Dust?
Dust.
Mud,
Very
dust.
nice.
Yeah.
The dust which goes up, it goes high, and that creates a kind of a blurred vision. So that is called Godhuli. So Krishna used to do that in Vrindavan when he used to take all his 900,000 cows and bring them back. So he used to look very beautiful when he used to come back in the Godhuli time, Godhuli Bela. This is what he was experiencing. Bhishma was experiencing that he in the Godhuli time he's looking so beautiful. So he was spreading his arms and asking him to kill me. No problem. It's so beautiful vision. My life is, completely satisfied. I'm satisfied with my life. Come and kill me. But then things happened that Arjun came and stopped Krishna. So this is Krishna reciprocating. But from Bhishma's side, he tried to kill Pandavas as well. But his part as a thing was he was too much attachment towards his vows. Too much attachment towards his vows. Can anyone tell me any other prasanga or times when he was too much attached to his vows, or looped into policies and processes?
Yeah, with the Draupadi's Cheer Haran,
Very nice.
yeah, was there,
Yes.
yeah.
So at the time when Draupadi was being disrobed, Draupadi came to everyone for help. And Bhishma was the most, powerful. So she came and to his feet, she asked for shelter. And Bhishma's reply at the time was that you have already been gambled by your husband. So you are no more property of your husband as per that. So he can't take care of you. And you have been married off by your father. So you are no more under the shelter of your father. So he was saying that I'm trying to understand to whose, shelter you are in. Yeah? This is called Niyamagraha. When you are caught between processes and policies and you forget about the actual work which you have to do. You have to save Draupadi. Don't worry about the process and policies. Correct? So he was too much attached to processes, policies, vows, this, that. So that is completely material. There is no spiritual aspect to all of these things. If you look at Bhishma's attachment towards all this, the asakti towards all vows and policies. So this is the background of Bhishma. So Bhishma was on the side of adharma due to all these reasons. Vows, his attachment. And attachment was not spiritual, material. Krishna will explain further. So there was no reason for Arjun to say no, not to fight Bhishma. We'll look at Drona now. So Dronacharya. Why was Drona on the side of Duryodhan? Why was he fighting from Duryodhan's end?
Because Dhritarashtra had given him a lot of privileges, as well as he was carrying out his own school in Hastinapur, and he was getting a lot of income due to
Correct.
that.
Sure, yes. So he was on the payroll of Dhritarashtra. So he was getting paid. His house was running. And there were times in Dronacharya's life where he did not have any money at all. He did not have any resources at all. He didn't have milk for his son. So his son, anybody can name his son? What name is son?
Ashwatthama.
Ashwatthama. So
Ashwatthama.
Ashwatthama grew up drinking a fake milk. His mother, what was his mother's name?
Kripi.
Kripi, very nice. So Kripi used to give, and Kripi was the sister of Kripacharya. So Kripi used to give milk, a fake milk, to Ashwathama. She used to mix flour, grains flour, wheat, and that flour, she used to mix it with water, and she used to feed him as milk. So one day Ashwathama went and had a real milk at someone's house. He said, "What is that? It is very tasty." He said, "This is milk." He said, "Oh my God, what I've been drinking all time? What is my mom feeding me?" Oh, then he came to know it was a flour mixed with water. He went back and he started, his mother gave him milk again, same kind of a mixture she gave him. He said, "No, I don't want to drink this atta water anymore. So better you give me milk." And because of that, Drona went to Drupad to ask for cows. You know that prasanga, right? So we won't go there. So that part happened. So because he had very tough times in his life, Drona, he had to accept this offer from Dhritarashtra to teach the prince, all the Kshatriyas to learn. So now because he was obliged because of this, so he couldn't. Now, was his intention or was his motivation spiritual or material?
Material.
Material.
So where are we getting at? Why are we talking about material and spiritual? Because in the Shastras, in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is explained that you cannot become a teacher, you cannot become a father until you are capable of uplifting your children or your students in spiritual realization. So, where Arjun is treating them as teachers and well-wishers and seniors, it is counterfeited by Srimad Bhagavatam that they are not fit to be teachers, they are not fit to be your elders, they are not fit to be the fathers, because their asakti is not spiritual, it is material. So you are okay to fight with them. I'll share that verse with you. I'll share my screen. So it is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 5, verse 18. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
So please repeat after me.
Yes, Prabhu.
Gurur na sasyat swajano na sasyat
Guru
Guru na
Rasasya
sasyat swajano na sasyat
Svajano na sasya.
pita na sasyat janani na sasyat
Pita na
Pita
sasyat janani na
Na
sasyat
sasya. Janani na sasya.
daivam na tatsya na patishcha sasyan
Daivam na
Devam
tatsya
na
na
tatsya.
patischa
Patishta na
sasyat
sasya.
namo chayed yah samupit mrityam
Namo
Namo
chayedya
Jai
samupetam
Namo
mrityam
chi
Samupityam.
samupityam.
One who cannot deliver his dependents from the path of repeated birth and death should never become a spiritual master, a husband, a father, a mother, or a worshipable demigod. So this is the counter offer, as I call it, for Arjun's argument. His argument is invalid, which will be explained by Krishna in the next verses. So this was the background about Bhishma, about Drona, and why they were not capable of being the teacher or the fathers. Okay, that is verse 2.5. we'll do verse 2.6 in our next discussion. Please read your verses and try to recite them along with Radha Gopinath Prabhu. His name is Radha Gopinath Prabhu, right? Have you seen that video? Is it Radha Gopinath Prabhu or is it Radha
Yeah, Radha Gopinath
Gopinath
Das.
Prabhu?
Yep.
Yes, Radha Gopinath Prabhu. So please hear him. You can even just hear him just like that once. You will feel, the recitation of chapter 2, and then you try to recite in the same meter your own verses. Okay, so please mark your verses carefully so that we can do the whole stream of verses quickly. So we are progressing. Last time we took about 40 minutes. This time we took about 35 minutes. So we are getting better. So over a period of time when you will be able to recite your verses without the book, not all of them, maybe one or two as well, we may be able to do the whole verses in 20 minutes, all the 39 verses. Yeah. The reason why we are doing these verses is because chapter 2 is the summary of Bhagavad Gita. Contents of the Bhagavad Gita summarized. That's the chapter name. So if you are able to understand this chapter, you will be able to understand Bhagavad Gita in the whole as a gist, in summary. So this is very important. Okay, so we'll end our discussion here. Any comments or questions? Happy to discuss.
Prabhuji, can you paste the link of that canto which we just read in the chat for us
Sure,
to
I will do this
read
now.
further?
It's from Vedabase.
Yeah.
So, I've just pasted in the chat of the
Yep.
Jitsi
Thank
chat.
you. Thank you.
No problem. Any other comments or questions? Okay. So if not, we'll end our discussion here today. See you next week, Sunday. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.